Hey there, this is Scott Welsh. It's Wednesday, June 29th, 2016, and this is our weekly blog post. Now, this is the third in a three-part series about game time. In other words, getting in the game. Instead of sitting on the sidelines and worrying and researching and waiting, I want to get in the game with my own trading, and that's what we're talking about in the past three parts, past 3 weeks. Now, in part one, if we go back to my blog post, in part one, we talked about the Friday only portfolio, meaning trading only on Fridays. And then the second part, we talked about the lone wolf, meaning trading just one currency pair and what that would look like, or trading just one robot. This week, we're going to talk about the specialists. I think that was a great Sylvester Stallone movie, or maybe it wasn't, but it wasn't that good of a movie anyway. So let's move on. As you know, and as I just said, it is game time. And the quotes that I've talked about in the last two posts are failing to prepare is preparing to fail. One of my favorite by John Wooden slash Ben Franklin. That is something I live by, something I swear by, something that works. But we've also talked about in part two, failing to trade is preparing to not make any money, right? And that's where I'm at in my life. Been a lot of chaos in the past few months. It's time to really get started, start hammering away at my trading, okay? Now, our job, if we're traders, if we're trying to trade for a living, our job is to make money. So, this is a huge question. What's the easiest way to make money? Not the easiest way like trading system wise. I'm talking about on a day to day basis. Or, in other words, what way of making money, meaning trading, is user friendly, right? Do you understand that a lot of traders fail just because they don't like the way the trading is going? If you don't like your day to day life, it won't work out. You can be dating a supermodel, but if you can't stand how it operates day to day, that relationship won't last, even though it seemingly was everything you wanted, right? So a system that trades a lot, or sorry, that makes a lot of money, for example, right? A system that makes a lot of money but goes through a lot of drawdown is hard to trade, right? I mean, isn't that difficult to trade? Yes, I made $1,000, but the drawdown was here and it was all the way down to 2,000. Then it came back up and then it was a losing streak and it took a month and a half and I lost for blah, 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 right? A system that gets you where you want to go, that fills the bill in every way. It makes the amount of money on average that you need, but goes through a lot of drawdown. It won't work for you, right? Or and you need to maybe change your mindset. Then it'll work for you, right? I mean, I'm saying it can work for you, but it's not likely, right? It is a cause of failure, and that's why everyone doesn't do it. Everyone doesn't trade systems that will work for them in the long run because they're not fun to trade, because they lose sometimes. At the same time, a system that makes the exact same amount of money as the previous system, right? The one with the big drawdown, a system that makes that exact same amount of money but does it consistently is much easier to trade. So let's say two systems, they both make $10,000. One has wild swings, one has very small swings. Which one is easier to trade? The bottom line is you end up in the same spot, right? But if you stop part of the way through, you don't end up with the $10,000. And that's what this week is all about. And that's what this portfolio is all about. Lastly, it's easier to make money if you like the system. If you hate it, you won't trade it. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. That's from the OJ trials. Anybody watch that OJ documentary, by the way? It was actually pretty good. But that's neither here nor there. Here's what I like. And again, we've been talking a lot about myself, right? What do people like the most is talk about themselves. So that's what I'm doing. I'm being narcissistic and selfish. But here's what I like. I like consistency. I like people who are consistency. I like things that are people that are consistency. I like people who are consistent and things that are consistent. I like my athletes consistent. When Roger Federer had that 5 year of dominance, he was consistently amazing. I like that, right? Besides the fact he's the greatest athlete of all time. But anyway, I like artists. I like, for example, Taylor Swift. I'm not embarrassed to say that. I like Taylor Swift. Why? Because she went to work when she was 13, started singing in bars, and has been cranking out music ever since. She's consistent. You know what you're going to get from her, right? You're going to get some breakup songs, and especially some lately, right? Poor her and Calvin. Poor Taylor. And I like businesses that are consistent. I don't like wild swinging business. I don't like honestly businesses like Amazon that lose money all the time but are trying to take over the world, right? Just expand, expand, expand. I just don't like businesses like that. I like consistent. I don't like necessarily the big wins and the big losses. I don't like that in the people in my life. I don't like the people who give me the best time I ever had and then give me the worst time I ever had, right? I just like consistency. That's where I come from. I like to show up to work every day when I was a coach. I like to show up every day when I'm a trader. I just like consistency. All right, I beat it to death, but you get the idea. I also don't like action in my trading. I don't like a lot of action. I don't like, oh, trade here, trade there. I'm I love Vegas, as you probably know, right? I put pictures of Vegas all over the place on my blogs and YouTube and so forth. I don't gamble. I don't go to Vegas for action, as strange as that sounds. You know what I do in Vegas? I go to the spa. I go to the best restaurants in the world. I walk the strip. I get 30,000 steps a day because I love walking. I don't go for the big, whoa, wild night up till 4. I don't do that. I don't do it ever, right? People say, oh, I get tired of Vegas. I don't get tired of Vegas. My Vegas trips are extraordinarily consistent and calm, not a lot of action, and it's magnificent. So I'm just letting you know. When I choose trading, I can trade something for a while. If it gives me too much action, I don't actually like it, okay? And I don't like being in day trades for a long time, right? Now, is there a hyphen in day trades? I've seen it hyphenated, I've seen it not hyphenated. I'm doing it both ways. I'm doing it any way I want. This week I'm doing it hyphenated. But I don't like being in day trades for a long time. It makes me angry, right? Day trades are supposed to be over with, right? The reason I got into day trading, I want to go to work, do my job, and get out. I don't want to position trade for weeks and weeks, okay? And I definitely don't like being in day trades for a long time. Now relevant. It's all relative, right? If I get into a trade at noon Eastern, I don't want to be in it at 8 p.m. Eastern, right? To me, day trades are over. So it's basically that 4-hour window I like. And I don't like them to last a long time. So keep that in the back of your mind. And last, I do like day trading for the go to work consistent aspect of it. But I'm just letting you know I am warming strongly to trend following, except around Brexit. That didn't actually, trend following was a little rough. Now, my robots were off during Brexit, but man, there were a lot of spinouts. Now, they're all small spinouts in trend following, but that Brexit messed around with those trend following robots, which was interesting to me. But anyway, let's move on. This week, I'm introducing the rollover-friendly specialized portfolio. This group of robots, this portfolio is very specialized, but specialized with a very specific intent. Now, here are the reasons behind it. One, big surprise, I want consistency. I'd like to, right, for my trading, to put all of my money or any money that I make into my trading accounts and feel great about it every day, all day. I'd like to have a very narrow expectation of what my returns might be. Meaning, I'd like to be able to think, okay, this portfolio is going to make on average $200 a month. Again, in my dream world, in my personal personality test, I'd like that to not be 4,000 one month and negative 4,000 next month, and then 200 up and then 100 down, and then right. I don't like that. All right, I'm just telling you what I like. All right, this is a business to me. This isn't fun for me. The research is extraordinarily fun, but the trading is not that fun, right? It's a business. I like consistency. Well, it's fun when it's consistent. Let's put it that way. I love consistency. It's not fun. Wild swings are not fun for me at all. So I'd like to have a narrow expectation of what my returns might be going forward. So I have a new number that I've developed over the past couple weeks, and it's just my quote-unquote deviation percentage. And all this means is I wanted to have a measure for a certain system or portfolio. I want the monthly and yearly returns from different time periods to look as similar as possible. So let me quickly show you what that means. Okay. Here's an example. Here are, and this is in my specialized portfolio, okay? Here are the average returns starting from 2012 to now, 2016, June, okay? It averaged 237 a month, okay? Now, what if I started in 2013, though? 2013, what if I didn't start in 2012? Well, starting in 2013 to now is that similar, right? Okay, well, what if I started this portfolio in 2014? This is 2014 to now. Pretty much the same, right? And this is, okay, well, what if I start in 2015? Only a year and a half. Looks like that. So I'm only looking at 2012 to 2015. Why? All my systems do better in 2007, 2008, 2009. Those are my best years. So I'm throwing those out. If those happen again, I'll be extraordinarily happy. But I'm assuming they'll never happen again, right? Even though they probably will. But anyway. So I'm just doing 2012 to now. I figure that's 5 years. That's enough, right? Excuse me. The deviation in these years is only 11%. And all I did was take the best average, subtract the worst average, and then take a percentage of the best. All right? Doesn't matter how I got it. Here's the point. The lower this number, the better, right? If this was 0, then that means all the average returns are exactly the same, and that would be awesome, right? The lower this number, the more consistent your expectations can be. And again, there's no guarantees, but your expectations can be very reasonable, right? The higher this number, the less consistent it is, right? And I'll show you what I mean over here. Here are just the yearly returns. This is what it made in 2010, 11, 12, and so forth. You can see from 2012, the portfolio made 3,100, 2,800, 2,100, 2,000, 2,500 so far in 2016. What is the deviation percentage on that? Only 35%. It's only really a 35% drop from here to there, right? And again, it's that, or it's, I'm sorry, the best year minus the worst year, and then divide that by the best year, right? So I get that number. So in other words, the lower the number, the more consistent it is, right? This is just an easy way for me to take a little peek at it, all right? So let's compare that right now. I was going to save it, but let's do it right now, to the turtle portfolio, which is really the breakout portfolio now, all right? Now we know trend following has wild swings, right? Well, let's take a look. Actually, when you talk about average returns, the breakout portfolio is pretty consistent, right? Yes, 29% is a little bit high, and you can see that the averages go from recently 2015 on to if you started in 2013, you can see that you're doing better lately. But there's a swing there, right? And that's about 29%, right? That's a 29% deviation. But if you look at the yearly in a 12-month cycle, again, these are looking at multiple year averages. This is just 1 year, right? You can see 2012, awesome, right? Again, hypothetical 10,000 portfolio. You would have made 43%. 2013, you don't make much. 2014, you're in the middle. 2015, you did great again. 2016 has been right? So there's an 85% drop, right? That number is high. Because look at it. Look at the best number down to the worst number, right? That number is 15% of that, right? 85% drop, so forth, right? The higher the number, the less consistent it is. Well, let's go back and compare that real quick, right? Only 35%, right? The lower the number, the more consistent the entire portfolio. So we've got a pretty low number here and a pretty low number here. That's why we're talking about this portfolio, right? All right, back to the slides. Now, I love the idea of diversification, right? I absolutely do. It absolutely works. Here's what I don't like, though, and here's what, again, this is game time for me, so I've got to discuss everything with myself. What I don't like about diversification is watching it on a day-to-day basis. Now, why is that? Because I don't like a lot of action. I don't like trade, boom. Oh, I think I'm done. I go back and it takes a 6 p.m. Eastern trade, boom, boom. Now it's on all night. Now I have to wake up in the next morning and see what's up. I don't like that. I'm going to be honest with you. I love diversification, but I don't like that. I'm just telling you, all right? I haven't liked it for a long time. And I don't like the bookkeeping of a big portfolio, right? Going through 11 robots and taking a look at all the trades and making sure all the RSIs or the stochastics or the moving averages or actually the trading costs or the rollover, it's a lot. I'm happy to do it, right? It's my job. I'm happy to do it. But I don't particularly like it. I mean, I like the research. I don't like bookkeeping necessarily, right? But if this, again, I'm just playing devil's advocate, but if I put a diversified portfolio away and it was, say, a savings account, not something I need to draw out every month, that might be different, all right? But regardless, I'm not that keen on all the action in the portfolio bookkeeping that a diversified portfolio takes. And the specialized, portfolio only has 3 members. Number 3, The longer you're in this specialized rollover friendly portfolio, the more money you make, right? Remember what I said? I don't like being in day trades for a long time. Well, guess what? This portfolio only trades in the direction where you might get paid for your time. For example, when you're in certain currency pairs, if the interest rates between one currency pair and the next, if there's a wide gap, there's a chance you can get paid to be in that trade. For example, when you go short the Euro Aussie, the difference between the Euro and the Aussie, the difference in that spread means if you're in that trade long enough, past 5 p.m. Eastern, you sometimes get what they call rollover credit, all right? And TradeStation calculates this for you and blah, 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 so you can look it up. So I only traded this portfolio in the direction where I may get paid, right? So I only went, for example, I didn't go long and short on the Euro Aussie. I only picked the currency pairs that might get me paid if they're in a trade long enough. Haha, so what does that mean? That means that if I get into a day trade for a long time, psychologically, I'm going to be okay with that because there's a chance I might get paid or might get a little rollover credit. And it's, again, it may be a little, maybe nothing. But psychologically, I love that. And if I get paid, well, that's even better too, right? The analogy is like trading only dividend stocks, right? If you only traded stocks that pay dividend, traded them long, and you happen to be in them long enough, you might get a little dividend payment, right? You might get a little cheddar on the side. That would be nice, right? But there's no guarantee you're going to be in a trade long enough to get that dividend payment, but that's fine with me, right? And there's no guarantee I'm going to get this rollover credit, but it's fine with me because if I'm in it a long time, I might get a little money, right? So that's the methodology behind this very specialized, specifically rollover friendly. I want to be in trades that trade with positive rollover, and if I can get paid, I want it, right? So this might make me a little bit happier. In fact, it does to be in a trade knowing that I'm trading with the rollover credit. Got it? All right. So specifically, it only takes trades on the big rollover winners. So I went through TradeStation, I did the research, and I only use the currency pairs that paid you the most potentially, right? I'm not putting any rollover into my spreadsheets. I'm just hoping and crossing my fingers and using the psychological benefit, okay? So Euro Aussie, you have a chance to get paid. The Aussie yen, you got a chance to get paid, and in a lesser way, the dollar yen. But you do get paid if you trade them in the proper direction where you might get paid. So let's take a look at the spreadsheet real quick. Here is the spreadsheet trading only those 3 currency pairs. And if we scroll over a little bit, well, let's just go through it. You saw these averages earlier, right? Very consistent, right? If you then take a look at the yearly returns, we looked at that, really consistent. But if you then take a look at the drawdown, what are we looking at to trade this, right? Well, let's scroll down. There's a bad month there, but I'm talking about a elongated period, and this is 4 months, so that's not great. But that made an $1,118 drawdown, right? So if you add a month-end situation, right, that was your biggest drawdown. You can see the next 2 months knocked that right out, but that's beside the point, right? So that was 1118. There was another opportunity back in 2009 where you had a $1,000 drawdown, and then there's another one back in 2008 where you had a $1,000 drawdown. All right, so actually I wanted to be over there. Stop doing that, Scott. So if we go back up, our biggest drawdown to get this consistent return, to get this amount of money, $39,000, your biggest drawdown is $1,100, and your average losing month is only $274, right? For me, that's not bad. So what hypothetical account would you trade this on? Would you trade it on a $10,000 account? Well, you absolutely could, right? Then you're only looking at a $1,100 drawdown. I'm considering trading this on a $5,000 account, or doubling and trading on a $10,000 account. You get what I mean. But if you traded this on a $5,000 account, you could grow this account potentially pretty fast if you could take a 20% drawdown, right? So I'm just telling you out loud what I'm considering. I'm considering anywhere between a $5,000 and $10,000 portfolio if I were to trade this. And again, these trade sizes are a little bit elevated. It's not 10,000 each, so I'm going to continue to work on the exact trade sizes that I want. But I bet them all a little bit bigger, and you can see what I got. Not too bad, right? Now, if I were selling this to myself, and I've said this in the previous post, right? Now I sat down and I'm selling this to myself, and assuming I'm not making any of this up, which I'm not, even though this is back tested, right? I haven't traded this live. If I'm not giving myself con man numbers, is this good enough, right? We've got the psychological benefit. We've got a drawdown that's pretty reasonable. We might get paid, right? We might get paid. Why not do this? Well, here's the argument against. Too many eggs in one basket. Only 3 versus 10, 11, 12. That's a lot of eggs in one basket. And when you have less diversification, you get bigger max drawdowns and less winning months. Oh, don't believe me? Well, let's take a look. This is my diversified portfolio, right? What's the biggest drawdown on the diversified portfolio? Let's see. 807 bucks, right? Now, that's not a lot less, but I mean, it's significantly less, an $800 drawdown, right, compared to $1,100 drawdown. Plus, you get more winning months by being diversified. Check this out. Diversified portfolio, you only have 19 losing months, right? Which is an 87.8% winning percentage. If you go back to the specialized portfolio, you have 38 losing months for only 75%, right? So there is a lot more losing that goes into a specialized portfolio, and the drawdown is bigger, right? The other potential problems, you get bored, right? I don't like action. If you do, you get less action, so maybe this isn't a good portfolio for you. And as I said, no diversification means less winning months, right? So we already talked about that. The robots could stop working, right? If you have a robot that goes rogue, right? And again, I test these so that they don't go rogue, right? I'm very conservative with my testing, but if they just stop moving, stop working properly, if the markets can change for a while, in a diversified portfolio, remember I've said this before, in a diversified portfolio, if you got 11 robots and one goes bad, you probably aren't going to suffer much, if at all, right? It'll just be a little blip. But if you only have 3 and one goes rogue, then you have more of a problem, right? So that's another thing to consider. And rollover changes constantly, and you can't really even put it into your spreadsheets. I did not, so you may not get much payoff for it, right? You may not get any payoff for it. I'm going to chart it live and find out. But trading it in the direction of rollover may not bring me more money. But there is that psychological benefit that you might. Of course, there might. Let's go with the latest updates now. Nothing's more important than getting these trading costs. I've said this now for 3 weeks, and I'm going to continue to tell you. I'm going to get these trading costs, especially for day trading. I'm going to continue to stay on top of them, and you should too. All right. I'm already trading right now, as we speak. I'm trading the diversified portfolio in one account, the rollover-friendly specialized portfolio in the other account, and I'm still doing trend following. All of it is back live as of Monday. I was back in. I'm trading all 3. I told you I might do that, but they're small accounts for now. I'm going to go in with a lot more money very, very soon. I'm also trading a live chart on the new trend following robot. I worked with Wes. I made that adjustment that I talked about. So now I'm trading that live. I don't like the back testing because in MT4 back testing, as you know, it does it differently than it does live. So in short, I'm just trading it live. I'll match that up with my TradeStation results. If they're identical enough, then that will be available to any lifetime members and anyone else. Still haven't made the move to VPS, but I seriously want to. I'll keep you posted. And for any more portfolio considerations, right, check out my YouTube channel. Getting many more subscribers. Thank you for that. Check out the blog. Always want you to do that. And just check the posts in general, right? This specialized portfolio is very, very interesting to me. It's much more consistent, even if it isn't diversified. And I'm fascinated by it. So if you're fascinated by it, of course, you can always email me. But I will keep you posted on this. As I said, I am trading it live, so we shall see. And if you need it, here's my contact information, email, ebook. There's the blog. If you're going to open up an account, do talk to Justin Hertzberg, please. It'll make your life so much easier. He's been so great to me, and that's not a lie. That's all for this week. I'll be back for the Thursday 2 p.m. Eastern webinar, and hopefully I'll see you then. Bye for now.